There are hundreds of criminals in The Rookie that range from petty one-time misdemeanors to some of the most evil and psychopathic people to ever walk the planet. In this video, I'll be ranking the top 5 most evil villains in The Rookie and explain why they deserve that title. Starting with number 5, we have Elijah Stone, a cartel leader who let nothing get in the way between him and what he wants, and he would do anything for it. This includes multiple murders, even more attempted murders, and extortion and blackmail of people to keep them in line, which includes Wesley Evers. Elijah used Wesley's desperation to get Lopez back from La Fiera to turn Wesley into his crooked lawyer, and he holds this over Wesley's head for the entire 4th season. He continued to threaten the life of him and his wife and kid to keep Wesley in line, but Wesley wouldn't do it. This sent Elijah into a rage. He then made it his mission to ruin Wesley's life, starting with unrightfully suing Wesley to get his law license suspended, which actually succeeds. Then he forces Wesley to go on TV and apologize to Elijah, further damaging Wesley's legal reputation and hurting his practice even more. Luckily for Wesley, he has a badass wife who wasn't gonna stand for this. She kept tabs on Elijah, who started to slip, and then her and Nyla Harper took him down once and for all, locking him up, and it marked the end of his reign. Elijah is the weakest of the villains we're talking about today, but that doesn't discount all of the terrible things he's done to make it onto this list in the first place. But let's talk about another villain who had it out for someone in the main cast. At number 4, we have Jason Weiler, the ex-husband of Bailey Noon, who is not only a stalker and manipulator towards his ex-wife, but he also was obsessed with making Bailey's life as horrific and dangerous as possible. While the other people on this list have caused a large amount of harm to multiple people, whereas Jason really only went after one, he arguably had the strongest will towards that one person. While we don't see what it was like when Jason and Bailey dated, Bailey has described their marriage as manipulative and emotionally abusive, and even though Bailey's tried to escape the marriage, Jason wouldn't give her the divorce. He ended up going to prison. However, he was released 2 years early, and he went right back for Bailey, who put her foot down and said it was over. This was where Jason really started to show why he is on this list. He, like Elijah Stone, made it his life mission to ruin Bailey's. First, he planted cocaine in her car to frame her, just to get her in trouble with her career, as well as potentially with her relationship with Nolan.
Step away from the vehicle.
What is going on?
Ma'am, step away from the vehicle.
I'm LAFD.
I'll tell you what's going on in a second. Step away from the vehicle, ma'am.
What is happening? Why am I... Wait, that isn't
You have
mine.
a right to remain silent. Anything you say can...
While he did end up getting caught and in prison for this, he wasn't done yet. At the end of season 6, Jason, along with Oscar Hutchinson, escaped prison, and Jason uses this opportunity to exact his final blow to Bailey. He finds Bailey and then hits her with his car with the plans to kidnap her and end this once and for all. However, Bailey manages to escape this by breaking his arm, and he was killed shortly after. This whole situation was deeply traumatizing for Bailey and Nolan, and his antics landed him this number 4 spot. However, now we're getting to the real heavy hitters of the show. Now at number 3, we have Monica Stevens, a crooked lawyer turned psychopathic criminal conspiracist after the fall of Elijah Stone, who she actually worked for in the beginning of her run. In season 5, Monica, revealed to be Wesley's ex, is Elijah's lawyer, which Wesley tries to warn her is a bad idea, but she doesn't care since Elijah pays top dollar for her. So far, she doesn't seem evil per se, more just self-centered and money-driven. But while working for Elijah, he threatens to kill her, and after that, it's almost like a switch flipped in her head, and she became much worse. Once Elijah was arrested, she came out swinging and became more than just a crooked lawyer. She began to murder, where in the season 6 episode Punch Card, she faked an injury to be able to kill an assailant who was after her for her past actions.
Are you breaking to rob the place, or did someone send you to kill me?
She then helped psychopaths escape prison. Oscar and Jason were aided in escaping prison in exchange for giving information to Monica, and she came through for that deal. Then she kidnapped Blair London, her insider into the LAPD, after she was arrested and compromised, and Monica had the intention to kill her too, if it wasn't for Nolan, Harper, and Lopez coming to save her. And finally, in the season 7 episode Speed, she was behind the incident with the bombers in the bus in order to data mine a card. We aren't sure about what this is for yet because I'm writing this video as of season 7 episode 12, but given the rest of what she's done, it's going to be catastrophic. All I know is she's quickly climbed up the list to my number 3 spot. However, these top 2 are part of the same extremely twisted type of people who I personally don't believe will likely ever be topped in the show. At number 2, we have to go back to the early seasons. In season 2, we were given Caleb Wright, a psychopathic serial killer who had a very specific but equally terrifying playbook. In the first episode we see him in, The Dark Side, he seems like a normal guy and potential love interest for Lucy, but this was all a ruse to gain her trust and to take her out on a date. In reality, he wanted to spike her drink and kidnap her, which is what he does.
Put something in my drink.
Once she wakes up, this is where we find out how he kills his victims. He tattoos the date in which he is killing them onto their own bodies, and then he puts them in a sealed barrel for hours until they suffocate to death. This was Lucy's fate too. However, since Lucy tries to escape and fails, he one-ups his initial plan and decided to bury the barrel far away from where he usually kills people so nobody would find her. And while she does get rescued, it doesn't take away from the horrific actions that he's done and is part of the reason why he's number 2 on this list. But before we move on to number 1, I want to point out some honorable mentions that I believe should be mentioned. Oscar Hutchinson, while he has been convicted for murder, is clearly a narcissist and is now an escaped convict, he also has helped the LAPD on multiple occasions with their investigations, as well as even directly, like when they saved the warden in the season 2 episode Under the Gun, and when he donated his kidney to his daughter in the season 5 episode Death Notice. I know he doesn't do these things selflessly, and he always has something to gain from them, but this is more than the rest of this list, which is why he's only an honorable mention. La Fiera, a vicious Guatemalan cartel leader who had no problem killing others to get her way. She even kidnaps Lopez to get her baby from her when the baby is born, which included her son that gave her a sense of humanity until he died, and stopped her from being too reckless and kept her out of LAPD's way, which is more humanity than most of the others on this list can show. Nick Armstrong, a twist villain who worked for the LAPD but in reality was working with a notorious crime family. He put many LAPD officers in harm's way, whether indirectly or even directly in the case of Nolan, where he planted drugs in his house and then attempted to kill Nolan on multiple occasions when that wouldn't work. But the reason he's not on this list is because he is nothing compared to our number 1 spot. Coming in at number 1, we have Rosalind Dyer, a murder-crazed psychopath who just couldn't stop even for her own good. She was responsible not only for 7 murders before she was caught and charged, she also was responsible for recruiting puppets, one of which being Caleb Wright, to continue killing for her. She has proven to have no care for anyone's emotions unless it's to feed on the negative emotions of not only her direct victims, but also people they're close to. One of these people who she took immense interest in is Officer Nolan, where in multiple instances, she would only talk to him and nobody else. However, in season 5, she escapes, and her killing spree continued. But this time, she wasn't going to stay low. She wanted to be flashy and let the whole world know what she's capable of. On her final act, she made a contraption that would slowly kill Bailey, Nolan's wife, and she used this contraption to force Nolan into killing Rosalind, turning a saint of a person into a murderer and ruining his life. Luckily, this plan fails as the LAPD finds a way to get Bailey out by knocking out the generator powering the contraption, as well as Nolan not giving in to her demands. But as Nolan was taking her in to be reincarcerated, she was killed by a sniper, and thus ended the reign of the most notorious and evil villain in the Rookie history. Thanks for watching.